Clash of Clans podcast, OG, episode 20. And welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Scotty827, along with your other host and dad extraordinaire, Tip Dog 20. Happy Father's Day.
Tip Dog 20.
20. The dirty 20.
This is my episode, Tip Dog 20, episode number 20.
There you go.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. I'm looking forward to episode 27. It's like a golden birthday.
I'm looking forward to episode number 827.
Yeah. Oh, man, that'd be...
Do you think we can
That'd
make
be
it that long?
You know, this game keeps going on, so it
And they
wouldn't
keep
surprise
introducing
me.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
They definitely keep things interesting.
Well, and that's, I guess, what we're going to be talking about today. We sat down to record, and like always, Tip drops a truth bomb on me. Well, a clash bomb, I should say.
There's a lot of truth to be spoken in this episode.
I
That's
guess
for
so.
sure.
I had a
Holy
little
cow.
little list here of things like, and I've been out of town for the last few days, so kind of been away. And okay, so my list is shot.
It's always next week.
Well, here's the thing, right? And this is probably a great thing about Clash is that it seems like every week there's something going on where,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, definitely not like the old days.
Correct.
And so we have a few brand new announcements by Supercell and some more information on hard mode, like we talked about. So where do you want to start?
We can start with hard mode if you want.
Yeah.
We both like it hard, right?
Ooh, hard and rough.
Hard, like it rough.
Yeah. Yeah, they need a rough mode.
No, hold on.
Rough. Hard and rough.
So
Just
hard
how my
mode,
builders like it.
Hard mode is gonna increase the damage on defenses by 5%. It's not a lot, but that's the number that they chose. And then, interestingly enough, after defensive damage, they chose to focus the rest of their hard mode on heroes. And that's 100% because they recognize how effective and how overpowered heroes are in this meta. A lot of it is because of hero equipment.
Oh.
And I don't know how hero equipment is going to be included in this. So attacking heroes have 10% less HP and 15% less DPS. And I'm assuming that applies to hero equipment as well. So if you have, I don't know how many hit points the king has, but if the king
5.
normally has 9,000 hit points, did you say 5?
Yeah.
5 hit points. If the king normally
he has, let's just say he has 100.
So if the king, let's say 90. Let's say he has 90 hit points, right?
Yep.
And then I put the Rage Vial and the Giant Gauntlet on him. And I can't remember if the Rage Vial and the Giant Gauntlet increases HP or not, but let's say that they do, right?
Okay.
So that increases his HP to 100. Well, then at that point, they're reducing the HP by 10%, which effectively removes the HP increase that the equipment offers at that point. So what they're doing with the decreased HP on the heroes is they're basically saying if you, and granted it applies whether the equipment gives extra HP or not, but for example, if your equipment gives, a 5% or 10% HP buff, or we're essentially removing that feature of the hero equipment because we recognize the hero equipment super powerful. So that's number one. And then number two is 15% less DPS. So if the hero equipment on the other side gives you a DPS increase, they're essentially, from the same perspective, removing the effectiveness of that hero equipment by reducing the amount of DPS that would have been given to you anyway with the hero equipment. I don't know why they don't just nerf hero equipment in general in hard mode.
Yeah.
But this is the way that they've decided to do it. They made it nice and flashy, 5, 10, 15. So 5% damage, 10% less HP, 15% less DPS. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well,
Sorry, I
actually,
caught you
it's
off guard.
no,
My
yeah,
bad.
it's that's kinda crazy. So they're leveling it by reducing the hero, and what was the other thing? The damage?
So the defenses that the hero is going to be going up against, or the troops are going to be going up against, are going to do 5% more damage. Now,
Okay.
the
Okay.
thoughts that I have on this are these numbers, honestly, are not enough to really affect a pro player, but they will affect a player like me. So I'm doing decently well in Legends. I got up to 58, 50, almost 5,900 trophies yesterday. I'm again your average player. I'm probably like
You
number
are not the average the average
15,000th
beast mode player.
at the end of the day, now granted, I could do all my attacks in the very beginning and I could be, super high in the rankings. But at the end of the day, when everybody's done their attacks, I'm probably ranked like 15,000th in the world, right? So I'm not super good. So these numbers will definitely affect a player like me because a lot of times at the end of my attacks, all I have left is my queen and my RC, and they just and maybe a wizard, and they're just cleaning up the last few defenses and trash buildings. So if the buildings do 5% more damage and my heroes have 10% less HP and 15% less DPS, then that takes a player like me out of commission. And my hit rate's going to go right now, it's probably 50, 60% in Legends. It's going to go from 60% down to 20%, maybe 30. So, which is the goal for Supercell. But for the pro player, honestly, this is not going to do much. And I still think that we're going to see whenever friendly matches, whenever competitive matches are done, you're still going to see wars that are going to be determined on how quick the attack is finished in, just because this is not enough of a hard mode for the pro player.
You don't think so, huh?
I don't think so, no. I think it needs to be more. If it's going to be effective at the Clash Worlds highest stage level. Or they need to introduce two hard modes. So hard mode number one
Harder.
is this harder mode, maybe hard mode, harder mode, and hardest mode. It's so funny. You
Hard
like it
mode.
harder? We know you like it harder. Stick that
All I can think of is like Die Hard. It's like
die hard, die
hard
harder.
mode, hard mode 2, Die Harder. um hard mode 3, uh hard mode
Die
with
hard,
a vengeance. And
hard
it's like all
mode.
those different I don't know. I mean, I kind of wonder like I really for me it's really kind of hard to grasp what how that looks like on the ground or whatever.
Mm,
Um but I wonder doesn't if it isn't a little bit harder than we think it will be because it is just so constant across the whole base.
Could be.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like because
Yeah.
the archer towers are hitting and the cannons and just all those little percentages that are increased might do something. Um,
Well, so they just did a nerf, for example, to Root Riders, and it was a 50% nerf to DPS. 50%.
and so
Their
with
their their DPS went from 230 to 115. So a 15% nerf to the hero's DPS. And just to be clear, it really didn't do much at all to the Root Riders. They took off 500 HP. 500 HP, and Root Riders are still overpowered because the mechanic of the Root Rider is still super powerful. So I just don't know if this is going to be enough to really make a difference, because the reason that they're doing hard mode is because the skill gap between the professional player and your average Clash of Clans player is so wide. So if that's the reason that you're doing it, well, at least make it difficult for the pro player. This is
yeah,
something, in my opinion, that they're almost going to laugh at.
oh, you think so?
I do, yeah. I just don't think that this is enough of a nerf to really make a big difference.
Do you
There's no
think?
nerf to the troops. So Root Rider's going to go in, and even though they are being attacked with 5% more damage, they're still going to be able to effectively do the job that they're going to do. And yes, sure, there's going to be a little less DPS, but reality is you can keep your heroes alive for a super long time by effectively using spells. So the fact they have a little less HP for a pro player is not going to make that big of a difference.
Well, I wonder if maybe maybe for us no, I
That's
don't know.
yes, exactly. No, that's my point. So for a player like you and me, this will affect. Like it will make it so that I'm it's gonna cut my 3-star rate in half, most likely. Just because I'm barely 3-starring sometimes, like
Yeah.
barely at Town Hall 16. Well, this is gonna take my 3-star rate down by, decent amount, quite a bit. But that's because your average player's been playing for a long time. But again, if the reason I'm not the reason that hard mode was created because I don't 3-star all the time. Let's just be honest. I mess up. Like I don't 3-star at 100%
He's
hit
human,
rate.
everybody.
I
He's just human.
100%. So funny. You're so ridiculous. But with the reason that they created hard mode was for the pros. So if it's created for the pros, then make it difficult for the pros.
I'll
I want to see wars that are 12 to 11. So right now, a
I want
perfect
them
war,
bloodied and crying.
I do. Like pros are the ones who want it to be difficult. So freaking make it difficult for the pros.
Do you think
Don't
they'd be the first to be like, "Well, this is too hard." If,
I
like, you went into a professional war and nobody 3-starred, or it was like, could people handle that?
I would love to see wars at the highest level with 0 3-stars,
Or, like,
personally.
you'd have to be, like, beast mode to get that 3rd star,
Yes. So, and the
like the
reason
old
that I
days.
I would love it is because now it's different than the old days. In the old days, you won only based on stars, but now you can win based on percentage.
Yeah.
So I would love it if at the professional level, now granted, at Clash Worlds, when you have the top 6 teams that are there, of course, I would like to see 2, 3, 4, 3-stars in a match. But working its way up, I think a 10 to 10 war that's won on percentage would be amazing. I would love to see that. That would be a challenge. It would bring back the difficulty of the puzzle that we've talked about in the past just by clicking hard mode. And the hard mode that they've implemented is not difficult enough for that to happen.
Yeah, like, it'd be great, right? I could see where you're going, and I can kinda see this now in just, like, regular attacks. It would be good if people were struggling at the finish line. And not, like, cruising through, right? Like,
Yeah, like me.
the race is like, "Oh, we're almost there, keep going, keep going. Can you get it? Can you get it?" Instead of just like, "Did it," "Now I'm gonna do another lap."
Yeah.
Like, some of my attacks, like, which is weird, I'm a TH14, but some of them when they go really well, it's like, there's a half an army sometimes. No, I mean, not really, but you know what I'm saying, where there's just overkill troops at the end. Um,
So that's what a pro does every time.
are
Like
you
where there's
telling
half
me
your
I'm a
army
pro?
left, you don't well, I'm saying that
I'm
there
just kidding.
no, I am. So
No.
100% of the time, you enter a base, half your army is left. You haven't hit any of your hero abilities. Maybe you even haven't even put down your RC. So I don't,
Oh,
I don't know if you remember, but there was a war maybe, I don't know, it's like 3 wars ago. No, 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 it wasn't war, it was CWL. There was a CWL where there was a Town Hall 15, I think. Chewy assigned the Town Hall 15 to me. Now, granted, it was a little rushed, but I did a blizzard on it. And then I put down my heroes. And granted, I used a hero potion to boost my heroes to max at Town Hall 15. So they were 90, 90, whatever they are. Put down my heroes, and my heroes were going. I was going to let my heroes get as much of the base as they possibly could before putting down my 25 loons and extra 2 lava hounds to clean up the backside. And my heroes just started trashing the base. I'm putting down freezes. Okay, not Lalo yet, not Lalo yet, not Lalo. What? What? And my heroes took the rest of the base on their own.
really?
Now, granted, I that's not normal for me. Like that's not normal at all. Just because I'm not that great of an attacker, but it just
Or you
went perfectly. I landed my blizzard in the right spot. My heroes were effectively used. I had an ice golem and put down freezes in the right spot. That is what a player like Klaus does every single attack. And that's what hard mode is for. So make it difficult for Klaus.
Make him cry is what you're trying to say.
Yes. Make him be like, holy cow, that I didn't 3-star. I want to
Yeah.
see that because at that point, and granted, even if they made defenses deal 25% more damage, attacking heroes had 25% less HP, 25% less DPS. At that point, you're starting to talk real numbers and it's going to be difficult. These guys are still going to 3-star. Honestly, they're going to figure it out. They're that good. They're that good. So I want to see that good on the professional level.
Huh. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it would they're probably having a weird balancing time, like you said, with the hero equipment. And not only that, but then, like, you add on hero equipment level,
Mhm.
right? Like, the gap between, uh, low equipment and big equipment, I suppose it's getting more and more tough to find that sweet spot where it's hard for everybody. I would like to see it too where it was
In the old days,
yeah, like
a Town Hall 10,
yeah, Town Hall 10 where it was,
impossible to 3-star.
yeah, it was like it was 2 almost always 2 stars up, the 2-star up top, sometimes a 3. I mean, but it had to be a perfect attack, but, like, it was difficult.
Mhm.
But I do remember at that time too, people talking about it being too hard for the average player then.
So one of the biggest complaints back then was the fact that there were all Town Hall 10 clans. I think In the Dark was one of them, and I can't remember the other one. I can't remember the other one. But anyway, all these wars
Yeah,
were
it's gone
ending
now.
in ties, all of them, because it was 2 stars all up and down the board. 2 stars. All these were max Town Hall 10s, 2 stars every single war all up and down the board. Well, that's different now because we have percentages. So
Oh,
my attack makes a difference. Sure, maybe I can only get a 2-star, but man, if I can get a 93% 2-star versus a 51% 3-star, that's a massive difference.
yeah.
Huge. And that's the difference between a solid strategy, planning out your attack, maybe talking through your attack, getting on voice, making sure that troops are released in the right order in the right places, getting 93% versus just shoving all your troops down the base's throat and hoping for 51%.
You're
Like
mak
that skill gap would still show in the end war results.
you're making me sweat.
You're
All this talk of, oh, getting harder. I probably will do alright when I get to max troops because I'm so used to working with underleveled everything that
Mhm.
I'm gonna I'm gonna really feel the pow oh, that's it. I've walked my heroes up a hill both ways in the freezing cold in a war like this when it was worse.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. So do you think then, like, with hard mode, who's gonna use it? Like, where will it be used, or do you think the average person is gonna be
No. Yeah, so no, it's not
or
gonna be used by the average player.
because in House of L so far, we haven't done any friendly wars.
Mhm.
Um, and we can do those during a regular war, right?
You mean use hard mode in a regular war?
Or friendly. You can do a friendly war on
A
top
friendly
of
war, yeah. So it's available in friendly wars, and it will also be available in friendly challenges, which is interesting, which allows you to
Oh.
practice on a harder level if you want.
Oh, that's kinda cool. So you could challenge yourself
Mhm.
in the chat on okay. Okay, so it does make it a little bit more accessible to every player.
Right.
Because so we haven't done any friendly wars against people, or we might not be in those professional elite clans. Are there like is there like a main leaderboard for those clans?
No, so it's just most of them are community run clans, and they're just different tournaments. So, Champions War League is probably the oldest. NDL, the No Dip League, is also one of the oldest. There have been others that have come up. GCC, Global Clash Cup. I mean, and granted, there are lots of them. So all of these community run competitive events, all of them are going to require hard mode from now on. Now they may have like a beginner's level or a new level, and a professional level. So the newbies
Ooh,
maybe won't be required in this community tournament to put on hard mode, but the professional level, 100%, if you want to compete at the highest level in any of these community tournaments or competitions, you're going to be required to have hard mode on. And I'm assuming that hard mode applies to all town hall levels as well.
interesting. So what it gets then is for the Clash community, a different way with those cups and groups, a different way to organize and maybe tier it out.
Right.
If you do it on regular mode, the first round is on regular mode, second round is on hard mode.
Maybe, yeah, that could be how they do it too. And just to be clear, regular wars are not going to be affected. CWL is not going to be affected. This is only for the next level competitive stuff that this is going to have any effect on. Stuff that we don't even really I don't do any competitive stuff at the moment. Like I'm on a roster right now, but I haven't done any competitive matches with my Town Hall 16 and nobody in L like GCBC and um Fury may do some competitive matches, but we don't do any in House of L. So this, other than FCing our own base or putting hard mode on for that, it's not going to affect us in any way. Which again comes back to the point: this was made for the professional, like this was made for the Clash Pro.
Well, I wish I would have gotten the memo. No, I'm just kidding.
It's going to affect you, Scotty, because you are a Clash Pro with how you've been smashing bases recently.
Professional. Well, not this week, but
Mm-mm.
yeah. See, I'm never talking about it on the podcast again. When we're doing a CWL, I'm just not commenting. And because I ended up with another 2 stars on the last CWL, the last couple matches when I should have had the 3, and it was like, I don't know, the curse of talking about it on the podcast. So I'd like to tell you about my favorite troop this week, but I'm not going to. No, I'm just kidding.
Or say it's a troop that you don't really like, or like,
Yeah,
okay, so I was about to say it's super minions because when super minions come out of the clan castle, sometimes they can wreck my attack. So say it's super minions, but that's one of Scotty 827's favorite troops.
yeah, I love that little
So we're not
bastard.
going to say the super minions anything about them. In
Yeah,
fact, you can
I'm
just
gonna talk about
scrub
balloons,
scrub
and
that from the podcast.
I'm gonna talk about lava
No, don't talk
hounds.
about Don't talk about Lalo, dude. Dude, dude,
If you
that
want
is
an
not
attack nerf,
that is not cool. You are a jerk.
call me up. I can get a nerf for. Actually, this last update was honestly probably the only update that I can remember that it really benefited me of all time. The with the super bowlers or with the
Oh,
bowlers
mhm.
getting the buff and
The
whatnot.
balancing update?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that really made a difference.
And I have had a use case because we had the rocket spear that was introduced.
Yeah,
I've
rocket
seen
spear.
a lot of people, which kinda leads us into the new troop as well, if you wanna talk about that, and then we can
Yeah,
end off on the next update that just pisses me off, but we'll get
yep.
there. So the rocket
Tip
spear
has I knew he didn't say anything, but
I
I
have the numbers, and the
I
numbers do not look good at
yeah.
all, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, but the
Okay.
rocket spear, are you ready to talk about the rocket spear?
Yes, mine's at level 9.
So, just, from clan chatter, from community chatter, from comments on my videos, the rocket spear is best with a hero dive. So, or Sui heroes as they were formerly called or currently called, however you want to look at that. And it is best with Suihiro Lalo. So Suihiro Lalo
Shit.
is when wait, oh, I should have said Suihiro's super minions is what
Yeah.
it's messed with.
Okay.
So with Suihiro Lalo, you're gonna send your king and your queen, sometimes with like a golem or an ice golem, something like that, into a certain section of the base. Sometimes you use a log launcher in order to open up the base to get your heroes in. But the rocket spear is gonna be great for putting down your RC first, have the RC, and it's gonna be paired best with the Seeking Shield, interestingly enough. The rocket spear is going to destroy, along with the Seeking Shield, 6, 7 defenses probably, and then you can start in your king before the RC comes up close. Put your queen down behind it, and you're going to be able to knock so much more off of the base in a Suihiro Lalo entry, and then you can just clean up the backside with loons with Lalo. So that
Where
specific attack does make the rocket spear pretty OP.
are they triggering the spear?
In the very beginning, yes.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, with and this is one of the reasons why I do love hero equipment and
So
pets.
it's okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, no, finish what you're saying.
Is the reason why I love it is because unfortunately using the spirit fox is not really going to be a great idea in using this attack strat because the spirit fox will run out ahead of the RC and will end up dying early. Same with Diggy, same with the Yak, same with the Freeze Walrus, like all of them. So, in order for this attack to be effective, most likely it's going to be best to put either the unicorn on your RC or the
Oh.
Phoenix, one of those, because neither of those are going to run out ahead of the RC and die. And they're going to give the RC a little extra value towards the end, which means you're going to have to shuffle the pets around in this specific attack. So typically, the Phoenix, for example, is on the king. Well, maybe you put the Phoenix on the RC and you put the Yak on the king in order to break through the walls and give a little extra tanking to give your Sui Hero dive a little extra value. So you're going to have to move things around. Or maybe you put the unicorn on the RC. Well, typically the unicorn's on the queen. Well, instead, maybe you put I don't know, the Diggy on the queen, or maybe you put the Phoenix on the queen to give her extra value. I don't know, but you're gonna have to move things around. But this will make hero
Huh.
dives much more valuable by taking out a few buildings with the Rocket Spear and the Seeking Shield, and then cleaning up the back end with a back end Lalo.
And it kinda makes do you think this is it starting to be a case okay, we've talked about it over the past weeks, and so I'm kind of in the TH14 grind and going to 15 in the future.
Hmm.
And thinking about pets and pet upgrades. Do you think this is really kind of the first case then where equipment and the pet switch out?
That's
Like,
a good point.
because it kinda seems like up until right now, I mean, kind of this is kind of overall general feeling I get, is
Hmm.
that people have an idea that this pet goes with this thing, with this
Hmm.
hero, and that's about it, and I think this is the first time you've talked about switching up pets because of a piece of equipment.
It might be, yeah. I mean, this is definitely a piece of equipment that the pet will affect which pet you choose to use. But this is also a very niche type of attack. So it's similar to like the fireball, where the fireball is great for funneling, but it's only good really for root riders, super witches, and super bowlers. Like that's, I mean, maybe one other attack, but pound and smash type of attacks.
Yeah.
Where you just pound, pound, pound over and over. No, okay, so but
Friday
that's
night, you mean?
typically what the fireball is going to be good for. So this is a very niche type of attack, which again, my recommendation is hold off on upgrading the rocket spear,
Damn it.
just because other pieces of equipment are better used with the types of attacks that are currently in the meta now. But I like Lalo. I'm not super good at Lalo when it comes to Town Hall 16, but if I can get a super effective Suihiro entry and I can use the Rocket Spear, I might have to upgrade it. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to see how things go.
So I threw it in at level 1, into just my regular attack. So I got it. So we are in June challenge of 2024. Hello, future. Uh, I got it with my rewards. I put it in. I felt like, and this is my first read on it, okay? Because
Mhm.
uh I had my RC down after this. Uh I felt like I used it how I impulsively use the RC
Normally.
anyways. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
because with that, so I got my pocket um maxed out, and then I have been doing the life gem, right?
Mhm.
But I swear to God, when I'm just running that life gem through there and I'm going, I look at my RC and I want to use the hogs earlier in the attack. Like, okay, she's right here, she's at 50% health, but I need a tipping point in this attack, like
Mhm.
comes in later. I got to
Yeah, that's
use it.
smart.
I
And
pop,
that strategy will especially be effective with the haste file. That's perfect. That's perfect strategy. Hog pocket haste file, perfect.
okay.
Because that's exactly how you want to use it. So the difference between using the hog pocket and the royal gem is there's essentially, I mean, granted, you get the hogs to pop out, but it's almost advantageous to wait until the very last second to pop the ability or even have it auto pop because of how much the RC heals back up
Yeah.
with the royal gem. So you don't want to waste that health. So it makes sense to wait. But with the haste file, you don't get that health increase, at least not to the level of the royal gem, which means you can pop it anywhere from full health to bottom health. You can pop it anywhere along that line. In fact, the earlier you pop it, the better. Now you're still going to see a health increase from the hog pocket, but I normally pop it like I send her through like a bomb tower. I wait for the bomb tower to explode, and then bam, I pop it because then my hogs aren't going to be severely damaged by that bomb tower. But that can happen anywhere from three-fourths health to half health to one-fourth health. And then I kind of focus on the RC freeze in order to save her, in order for her to be able to get through the full 12 seconds of her haste foul ability, or, I invis her and the hogs, at the
Mm,
same time. So it takes a little extra work, but 100% worth it. And if that's the way that you're using it, popping it, in the middle of the attack when you need a little bump, like that's the perfect way to use the haste foul in the hog pocket.
I'm hip with it. I'm hip with what's going on.
You're
Well, so I was doing that right. So I don't have the haste because I'm TH14.
Oh, that's right. You don't get it till 15.
But it seemed like that rocket spear was just kicked ass
Mhm.
because it kind of went like, all right, my hogs pop. I my health boost actually is right pretty much on par with
Mhm.
where I my impulse to push is, right in that. And then it's like, all right,
You push it real
boys.
good.
Yeah, push it real fucking good. Pop that spear down. Boom, boom, boom. My hogs are ahead of it. And then my RC seemed to like have a little breathing room and a little pause there. Push out a bunch of, firepower. Um, so so maybe the haste and the rocket spear, she just clears it out so fast in the middle of the base because it's like the hogs are going. There goes, a few defenses. Granted, this was like level 1 or 2 when I was using it. Maybe I've used it a couple times. My RC is done upgrading now, so I'll be able to play with it today. But do you think that? I mean, popping it in the middle of the base. Am I just crazy to think that that's
Well, so I mean, it is power shots, but the validity of using the rocket spear is the distance from which she throws it. And if you use it in the middle of the base, you're actually going to get more value by using the seeking shield rather than the rocket spear. So the seeking shield gives you 10,000 total damage, and the rocket spear only does, I think it's 8,750 or 7,850, something like that. I can't remember. I did the video on it, but I can't remember the exact number.
told me
But
to throw it away?
you're essentially getting 2,500 ish less damage because she's not gaining the value of not being hit by the defenses while throwing it. She's in the mix. So therefore, if you're going to use it that way, I would almost use it with the Seeking Shield. Although the Rocket Spear does give her a decent HP increase at the beginning, and a pretty good DPS increase as well. So I mean, I can see both ways. I can
Well,
definitely see both
it
ways.
was kinda like this, and maybe I'm crazy, and I'll have to report back on my findings here. Uh, it just seemed like because of the speed of it, right?
Mhm.
Like, there it gave the hogs time to expand out, and the spear's clearing out, and so the hogs are getting where they're going faster and popping through things, and probably, like, that would be like the shield. But it seemed like the timing of it, just like it was like a, "Oh shit, let me clear this thing out," boom, 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 and then, the pause going forward instead
Mhm.
of like the with the Seeking Shield, like boom, ba-da-da-ding, super fast effect.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, it's like gave her time to kinda blow a hole in it.
Could, yeah. I mean, you just have to do the testing to see what works for you, you know?
Yeah. Well, I decided, well, let me take this up to 10, and then I will go back to my regular equipment. That then I can see how it works, normally, um, in a regular situation, and then, continue on with my upgrades. Or if it's just amazing, keep going with it.
Right? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'll know more. Uh, I'm just having a hard time. I'm rethinking some strategy on upgrades with the heroes because our wars are getting so tough. Or
Mhm.
they've been tough, and it's always down to, like, 1 or 2 stars,
Yep.
and so warring with 2 heroes down is almost,
It's almost impossible to
yeah, it's
3-star,
gonna be
yeah.
almost
At least at our
impossible.
level. Yeah.
So I'm
Agreed.
thinking just, normally I don't really mind it, but because it is just so close and we're up against these clans, I might just think about, um, doing the RC with some books and spacing out my warden a little bit. Warden's at 50 now. So I feel like he's in this range where, okay, he's on the playing field. I feel like with him, uh, right now that I might be only getting what I need out of him because I need more power on that backside of the attack.
Mhm.
So that way, like, I could focus on his abilities because that's what I need more of versus his power or his HP, right?
Right.
Um, that it might be a little bit better to up my RC faster to hit that back. And because even if that warden was maxed, I don't know if I would get what I need out of the other heroes, I guess is does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, 100%. I mean, but you have to determine, what's best for you and your attacking style. And if that's going with the RC versus going with the Warden, like, that's a very personal
What would
decision.
you do?
So I upgraded my Warden first, all of the Warden, so I maxed out 2 pieces of equipment, and then I focused primarily on the Warden and the different pieces with the Warden because it offers the most versatility with the Eternal Tome versus the Life Gem versus the Healing, Tome versus the Rage Gem versus the Fireball. Like, that's some amazing variety versus the Rage Vial and the Giant Gauntlet. Like, they're pretty
Yeah.
much the same. I mean, obviously the Spiky Ball and the Giant Gauntlet are very different mechanics, but in reality, the end result is about the same.
Yeah.
When you look at them, they're not making that much of a difference. But with the Warden, for instance, I did a CW. I was so embarrassed. So I had 2 great CWLs. I had 2 perfect CWLs, and then this
Amazing.
last CWL, I ruined my streak because I was doing super witch attacks in Legend League, and I was using the Fireball and the Rage Gem with my super witch attacks. I went in to do my CWL hit, and I'd accidentally left the Rage Gem and the Fireball on my Warden. when normally with my root rider attacks, I do heel tome and eternal tome, and it
Oh.
just works really well. So, but I forgot I left my rage gem and my fireball on. I'm in the middle of my attack, blah blah blah. Going in. This is going great. It's perfect. Perfect base for root riders. I hit the warden's ability at the perfect time. Pop! Fireball comes out, and I'm like, oh
Oh,
shit.
no.
I ended up getting like a I don't know, like a 78 or 82% 2 star. So
Oh,
I
shit.
was disappointed. But that just proves the variety and the value of the different types of equipment for the warden.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I focused on the warden next and all of the pieces underneath the warden, because the king, queen, and RC, I mean, their equipment is great and you can offer a little variety through them, but not near as much as the warden. So that's why I focused on the warden.
Okay. Well, I did a lot of leveling on the, um, 18 levels in 2 months on the warden, and I'm gonna keep
That's a
going
lot.
with the, with the warden is, like, the main focus, but I think I might do, like, every other one because my RC's at 25 now
Mhm.
because I use the hammer of, building on her after CWL, and so I'm thinking I think what's max level up 14 for RC? 30? 35?
Third, I think.
Okay, I think it okay. I thought
I
so
think
too.
it's 30.
So I
Uh,
thought because I'm gonna wait 1 more month to go to 15,
mhm,
for the next seat because I wanna get my base, like, ready to sit at
mhm,
15.
and I'll do the same with Boimler.
Oh, you're gonna wait 1 more month?
Yeah, I wanna go up with you. I mean, you're my friend.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We do it
Yeah.
together.
I feel
Yay, let's
like,
hold hands as we jump across the Town Hall
"Yay,
14
alright,
river or
we're
Town
doing
Hall
it.
15 river.
Oh, we're making
Yay,
a
one,
party.
2, 3, let's
Let's
go.
go. Let's push it at the same time."
Ring around the rosy.
Yeah, I figure I'll get, like, just that little bit extra time. Well, I can finish up some traps, like the loons and just because I know I have gonna have a lot of other stuff to upgrade. Um, so I figure I could probably max her out and then go back to the warden and just take him up. Or do, like, every other one or something like I don't
So
know.
the rocket spear, the interesting thing, and the reason why we let off with that is because that directly affects whether or not I upgrade the rocket spear. And it's interesting that you mentioned about the pets. Like I never really thought about that perspective. Like, is this the first piece of equipment that really affects the type of pet that you need to use? But the new troop also will go along really
Yeah.
well with the rocket spear. And do you want to describe the new troop?
No, because I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
It was
So
like a
it's
fucking cocaine bear. Is that the one you were talking about?
yes. So it's the druid. And essentially, what the druid does is it's a healer for 30 seconds. So it heals more than a healer does. So I think a max healer heals 80 per second, I think. Well, a max druid heals 140. So almost double what a healer does. And the reason it's going to be so effective with Sui heroes or hero dives is because there's no penalty for healing heroes with the druid. So if you put a healer on your queen to do a queen charge or a queen walk,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
those healers heal heroes at a lesser rate than they do troops. So at troops, they'll heal the full amount, but there's a penalty for healing the hero. Well, that penalty is not applied for whatever reason with the druid. So the druid will heal the hero essentially at the rate of 2 to 2.5 healers, which is massive. And then once that 30 seconds is over, and if you're doing Sui heroes, like literally you're sending your heroes in to die. So you don't want to waste a bunch of troop space on healers if you're just sending them in to die anyway, which is why this is perfect for the druid. You put the druid on, he only lasts 30 seconds. He's just short.
Okay,
He
so
he explodes early. And then
he's a
after the 30
premature clasher.
seconds, premature troop, after 30 seconds, he turns into a big fucking bear
Cocaine bear.
with 4,000 hit points and does 160 damage per second. Oh, I'm sorry, more than that. 4,400 hit points and does 180 damage per second. So just to kind of give you a picture, the druid is only 16 housing space. 16, right?
16?
16 housing
Oh my
space.
god. I'm gonna have
We
a
have
heyday with this.
1,600 hit points with the druid. Granted, those hit points only last 30 seconds before it turns into the bear, but then the bear grants 4,400 hit points. So in total, 4,400 plus six, that's 6,000 hit points in total.
Wow.
The
For
Root
800.
Rider, which was just nerfed, which is 20 housing space, is 6,500. So very close to the Root Rider, but has this mechanic that is super powerful, super effective, and it's going to pair very well with the Sui Hero Dive. So that means new troop druid with the rocket spear paired with the seeking shield. Sui Hero entries are going to be very OP and are definitely going to become meta in the coming future.
Oh man. Okay. I I think I might like this one.
It's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if they have to nerf it. I would not be surprised, to be honest with you.
Well, I could see here's where I'm like, and I've just got a big smile on my face because I don't know why. I just think
You
so
exploded early?
yeah. Well, because now imagine you got like the RC, and I like to come in at the side, wherever I need to support, to kind of wind the attack once my heroes go in my push. Um so there's the RC coming in, being healed on her way to, well, do they go through walls?
With no, so the initial troop, the druid goes over walls, but the bear does not. But if you're pairing it with Sui heroes, you're gonna have to get your Sui heroes through the walls anyway. So the bear will just follow through the Sui heroes. And it's also defense targeting,
It
so it's
is
gonna
the
run
bear
out
is
ahead of your
defense.
heroes. It is defense targeting. The druid is not. The druid is, character or troop or hero targeting. But once the bear comes out, the bear is defensive targeting, so it will run out ahead of your heroes, and it has 4,400 hit points. Like, that's
So
massive.
I
So your heroes are going to be able to go so much farther.
but
They'll last longer than 30 seconds.
and if you pop, so if it can go over the walls, right? And you throw, I'm guessing it's gonna latch on to the here to whatever
Right.
one, right?
Correct.
You could take two of those druids behind you, like the RC in your squad, and they get to wherever in the base, and that's the point where I'm like, okay, I need the push, and it's like Ripley from Alien, get away from her, you bitch. The RC says, I'm making my stand at 30 seconds after the release with her two boy toys. She pops the rocket, and the fucking cocaine bears pop out, destroying everything like in a compartment by herself. And the rocket spears, like she could take out by herself a lot, I could imagine.
So there's one more point that's going to complete. If you haven't exploded yet, you're going to definitely explode now. You ready?
Yep.
So the healing heals up to 5 targets from watching the judo video, heals up to 5 targets as long as they're within 3 tiles of each other. So that means one druid will heal all 3 heroes at the same time.
Oh, man. So,
All
okay.
3 heroes
Do they
if you're
stack?
doing a hero dive. So I'm not sure if it heals each hero at 160 for each one, or if it's split into 3. So 100 or 180 for each one, or what? I'm sorry,
But I
what
mean,
is
like
it?
if you had a couple
140.
druids then, and they're all doing the same, you could have a druid cocaine bear party.
Yeah, and I'm
Just,
pretty sure it does stack because it's only for 30 seconds. I don't know. I don't know whether it stacks or not because I don't know if it will be healing 280 heal per second with 2 druids versus 140 with 1 druid. I'm not sure.
oh man.
But this for hero dives, this troop, compared with the rocket spear in the very beginning, do your hero dive, maybe have an ice golem up front, I would not be surprised if we see some pros 3-star the whole freaking base with just 2 or 3 druids and their heroes. It would not surprise me
Yeah,
at all.
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, you
At
could
all.
really you could just take a whole army, throw them in slowly. You know,
It's gonna be
if
hero
you
hero city.
clockworked your stuff around the base, like, you could do it that
Yeah.
way. I'm thinking like, holy shit. So, and just for everybody out there listening, I sat down to do the podcast and we sat down to do it and Tip dropped the troop bombs on me that we're talking about today. So, this is all new to me. Been out of town for a couple days and apparently missed a crazy amount.
Well, it
Uh
just came out. Like, literally
just
this
came
morning is when they introduced the sneak peeks to the Druid, so it just came out. So you didn't miss much.
I could see this with the Warden Walk or the Hero Walk because the Warden Walk, for one, it would not pull because if you had one on the
Oh,
troop
correct,
space,
yeah.
you know,
16 housing space won't pull it. Yeah, you're right.
you could have like 2 or 3, and then you drop 1 with the, warden, or you drop 2 with the warden, let it go. Well, you probably wouldn't wanna that bear might take off. I don't know how fast that thing is or what. Have you seen that movie, Cocaine Bear?
I have not. I've heard of it.
D
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I don't watch it with your kid, but,
You're
but it's worth a watch.
So one more point
Okay,
that's not quite as explosive, but it's still a big point,
ooh,
although I don't think it's
gonna
that
make me
that
giggle
big of a
here, Tip.
deal. The Druid will heal flying troops.
Super
Uh,
minions.
Now, granted, this is not necessarily such a good idea because, for instance, if you have an all dragon army or an all super minion army or an all e drag army, and you put the Druid on them, well, the Druid's going to be targeted by all of the
Uh-huh.
ground, focused defenses. So if there's a ground expo or cannons, multi cannon, I forget what they're called. Anyway, they're going to target the Druid. The Druid's going to die early. Also, remember the cocaine bear does not go through walls or does not go over walls. So whenever the
Yeah.
cocaine bear comes out, I love that cocaine bear. That's a Clash of Clans podcast name for the new troop. So when
That's
the
just what
cocaine bear
that was the
pops out,
first thing I thought of when I saw that little video we what.
when it pops out, it's going to be stuck in whatever compartment it pops out in. So that's not
Oh,
necessarily going to be a great thing, but it can heal air troops.
question. This did not occur to me here until right now. Does the druid have to last 30 seconds? Become the cocaine bear?
So I think again, I've not seen the troop. This is just from what I've seen. The druid will last 30 seconds before becoming the cocaine bear. Or if it goes to 0 on hit points, it will become the cocaine bear.
Okay.
Either one. So if the druid gets targeted, it will become the cocaine bear early. It just
That name
cocaine
just
bear,
sticks because
cocaine bear,
it kind of
it's
looks like
perfect.
it. Yeah.
In fact, I'm looking at the picture. I think is that a little white underneath its
Yeah.
nose?
Moving pretty fast there.
But or it will automatically become the cocaine bear at the end of 30 seconds.
Okay. Because that would be different, right? If you had to have that druid last, that would be that would be a good nerf if you had to do a nerf something.
Which is but that's why it's perfect for a hero dive because you only need it for the first 30 seconds. That's great. That's perfect. That's all you need it
Yeah.
for.
Then get the party started. You
Yep,
know.
exactly. Start at the back end Lalo or
Yep.
whatever it is that you're cleaning up the backside with.
Business in the front, party in the back.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Are you ready to talk about the last
Yeah.
um
Cause
thing that
I
I'm just pissed off about? But yeah.
yeah, cause you said there's one you're pissed off about. Watch that video. We watched it. I kind of I don't I have an idea why I think you're pissed off, um but
So
I'm
as
I'm
soon
excited to hear.
so as soon as so obviously for anybody who doesn't know, Supercell just introduced the Builder's Apprentice, or is going to introduce. I'm guessing it's coming out. They said that they have a goal of June 17th, which is tomorrow. We're recording this on Sunday morning. So basically, what the Builder's Apprentice does is you buy it the first level for 500 gems, and it allows you once every 24 hours to speed up one building by an hour, and that's gonna
On
cost you
level 1,
500 gems on level
building
1.
apprentice. Boom.
But it upgrades all the way to level 8, and it costs a certain amount for each level. I think it's 1,000
Of
gems for each
gems.
level. It's like 750 gems for the next level, 750. Anyway, in total, for 8 hours of sped up time, it's going to cost you 6,500 gems. Let me say that again. 6,500 gems. One more time.
Holy
One more
Yeah.
time.
One more time, Tip.
6,500 gems.
But wait,
Now,
there's more.
but that's the problem. There is not more with this Builder's Apprentice. So as soon as I saw it, I thought, holy cow, let me run the numbers on this. So I ran the numbers. I've already written up the YouTube script. So I'm going to put out a video. I'm going to be a little more nasty on the podcast. I'm going to be a lot nicer in the YouTube video because in reality, if someone wants to pay 6,500 gems for something to speed up their builders a little bit in the game, and they want to get to in game more quickly, man, spend your money. Like I'm good with you buying all the freaking packs in the shop. You want to spend, $500 whenever they introduce a new town hall, your
Yeah.
max in like 3 days. That's great. We spend your money on whatever you spend your money on, and my numbers could be a little bit off. So I granted, but still, the comparison of the number of days saved to 60 to 73, that's if you use it in the beginning on day one, all the way to day number 1095, which is 3 years when you max out your base, you're going to save 60 to 73 days by using the Builder's Apprentice. So the question is for that same $50, can you get 60 to 73 days of value with books of building and books of heroes? Yes, by far you can get that value. You can triple your value by instead of spending that $50 on the Builder's Apprentice, just spend it on books in the cash shop. Like there's no comparison. And that frustrates me. And I think there's going to be a decent amount of players who at least buy the first level, and
Yeah,
if
I'm
it
kinda
looks
wondering if I would. I mean, because again, it's like, well, it is an hour.
if it's a look, and if it's a cool toy, you want to spend 500 gems on it, fine. I mean, but it really doesn't affect anything. I mean, you're gonna have a few days savings with level 1. From 0 to max, you're gonna have a few days savings. Is it worth $5 for you to have a few days savings? I don't know. That's a value proposition that you as a player have to answer. And again, going back to the fact that there are some players who spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on this game just because they want to get to end game faster. Well, if you want
Yeah.
to spend $50 on the Builder's Apprentice to get there faster, well, who am I to tell you how to spend your money? But as
You're
far
Tip
as a
Dog 20,
value,
that's who you are.
no. And to be clear, the troop's super cool. I really like the troop. I really like hard mode, although I think it should be a
The
little
only
harder.
the only thing maybe about it where what I am is kinda thinking is the thing that is happening that's not quite like other things, though, is it is, uh, not taking away from other people at all. Like, if
What do
you
you mean by
don't
that?
have it, you're not, like, at a disadvantage. Like, if it
Right.
was hero equipment or, like, that
That's
kind of
true.
paid, so, like, this is fully on top of and it's not even that great of a thing that, like, oh, if you don't have it, then you're gonna be really screwed.
Yeah,
So maybe it's
it's
crappy enough that
and
that,
that's
like
true. Like that's true. Like it's not going to be detrimental if you don't get the Builder's Apprentice. Like from day 1 to day 1095 when you max out your base,
yeah,
you're going to have about 60 to 73 days of savings.
because it could be worse if you said, "Oh, they put that in now. If I don't spend that $65
100
or
gems.
whatever, yeah,
Mhm.
then I'm going to be,
So
like,
far behind.
so far behind," and so,
Right.
like so maybe that's, like, one of the positive aspects or, like because when I saw that, I was thinking just, like, initial reaction, "Oh, man," first of all, I'm scared. Did I just do all these freaking upgrades, and now I'm gonna be able to, you know, just like, I just lost all this time, and then I'm like, "Okay, no, I didn't." I didn't feel like I just got screwed because I could have had this builder. That was that one other piece, like, I kind of felt when I was watching that, like, so maybe it is a thing that's just kinda, like, distinguished, like, "Hey, you can get a little bit of ahead if you wanna spend the money," you know?
Yeah.
But for Joe Schmo over here, he's not gonna feel like, "If I don't spend the money, I'm I might as well just quit."
So a lot of players have compared this to the Goblin Builder, and it does not
Yeah,
compare. The
yeah,
reason it does not compare is because, and well, it compares in the fact that the Goblin Builder at the higher town hall levels is ridiculous value. I never use the Goblin Builder at the higher levels because it makes more sense to buy a book of building or a book of fighting
yeah, it's just
because of the gem cost, right? But the Goblin Builder at the lower hall levels is a very efficient use of your gems, especially because the Goblin Builder can be used in the lab. So the lab is something takes something like over 2 years longer than the buildings on our base to upgrade. So total time in the lab is like 5 years and something total. The buildings to upgrade on our base is like 3 years and 2 months or something like that. Like if you go to Clash Ninja, how long will it take to get from Town Hall 2 to Town Hall 16 max? It's like
uh
3 years and something for all the buildings. It's 5 years and something for the lab. The problem with the Builder's Apprentice is it's only for buildings. You can't use it in the lab. So therefore, it's way worse than the Goblin Builder. It's way more inefficient use of gems overall, and it's just a
I
bad idea.
bet you that's the next thing. I bet we look at this back at this episode and we say, "You called it."
Hmm.
Because I bet you they'll introduce, like, a research apprentice or something.
They probably will, but you're probably gonna have to buy it separately with gems.
Yeah, can you imagine? Like,
Oh seriously.
could you ma now, if that builder's apprentice was just for research, do you think it'd be
So it's still a horrible deal.
I don't think I'm not sure I'll even do level I'll probably do level and I hope people know, like, it's not like, it goes up. It's like, 500 and then it's 1,000 gems, like, or whatever it was
It
each
just
l
gets and it only adds an hour. So
Ye
the hour that you're gaining gets more expensive with every hour that you buy.
so it's like it works for 1 hour and then you get an increase in the speed, right? Like,
Yep.
times
So if you have let's take that 17 there's 17 hours left on your archer tower. You put the builder's apprentice on it if you have it maxed out. That means after an hour, that archer tower will go from 17 hours down to 8 or 9 hours. Like that's
yeah.
what a max
And
builder's apprentice will do.
it did say on Judo's video that, you lose research time or anything that you don't use is lost. So it's not like if it's
Right.
done, you get to reassign the time. So kind of reminds me of the clock tower boost
Mhm.
uh in the builder base.
Yeah,
Um
so if that archer tower was at 7 hours, for example, and you put a max builder's apprentice on it, you're gonna lose, an hour of value because you're putting it on a 7-hour left upgrade. You're not gonna get that hour back. It's just wasted.
I will say this, I could see it being really good for um like for me, for example, if I get level 1, there's a lot of times where my upgrade's about to finish
You just
and
want that extra hour back in your life rather than staying up or gymming it.
yeah, like,
I
it's
can see that.
that 18 gems, like just last night, it's like, "Oh, my cannon's gonna be done in an hour and a half, and I wanna go to bed." I could have, instead of spending that 18 gems
S
on that
so j
last hour, 'cause
so
it seems like the most expensive, like, the last hours.
So let's be clear though. How often do you do that? And if you do that for 6,500 gems, you can do that. Say it costs 20 gems to finish up. You can do that 325 times before it costs more to do that than using the Builder's Apprentice.
I just mean
325
I just
times.
mean level 1. Just doing the 500
Right.
gems for level 1.
Oh, I see what your point. I see your
Just
point. Yeah.
because that 500 gems, that last 18 hour, I probably end up jamming that last hour to once a week or twice a week.
Then, yeah, so
Yeah,
you could do that
or even a
25
little bit more.
times.
I would do it a little bit more often, and so because I
20
there are times where I'm like,
27
oh yeah,
times.
I'm gonna go do the yard stuff. I'll do my boost right now so I can get it done.
Yeah.
Um, or and then if you forget about it, you don't feel like you have to get in there and be like, oh yeah, I just lost an hour.
Yeah, so the numbers are best at the lowest level because you add an hour, it only costs you but it costs you $5, 500 gems. You get minimal value out of it, but that's definitely more gem efficient at 500 gems than it is double that at 1,000 gems for literally the exact same hour, just an hour added to your time.
Yeah. I could see. I'll do it. I'll do level one just just to help with that little bit of time
Yeah.
on those upgrades because that happens to me a lot.
I probably won't just out of principle.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. It's a lot to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm not. I'd rather
Buy the
buy a
first
hero
level. Like,
skin.
don't feel bad about buying first level.
I will, but on the other hand, the king skin doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
You know.
It's fun having the game, sure. Spend 500 gems. I will not. I will not buy the Builder's Apprentice on any of my bases.
Well, I'll do it for you. No,
And
just
that's
kidding.
okay. That's okay.
I will do that first level, but yeah.
And if you're spending gems like every week on, finishing up upgrades the last hour's worth, well, that is an argument in favor of, well, let me at least have the Builder's Apprentice available so I can save 20 gems a week. But
Yeah, I
understand that
would
that's
definitely save
500
20 gems.
gems. So it's going to take you 27 times of doing that,
I would do that. I
27 and a half times of doing that for the math to make sense
of with one builder. Yeah, I would do it probably every
with
day.
the first level, the Builder's Apprentice. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
feel bad about that at all.
Yeah, because that one would yeah, I will definitely do that. Just it'll help. Or and if I'm
Yeah,
sitting around doing something. Um, I'll probably still just have to jam the last hour anyways because
probably.
of my
There's
builder thing. God. Oh yeah. It all comes back around. Well, we should probably wrap up. This is a big episode.
It
Um,
was a big episode.
so it'll be good though to like. So when is that dropping? Is that dropping the
Tomorrow.
17th? The
Yeah, it's
Druid?
supposed to drop tomorrow. Mhm.
Okay.
They might not do it till Tuesday or Wednesday, but they said the 17th was the goal. So probably in the morning we'll see all this.
And the Druid is at Town Hall 14.
Channel 14. I think is what they said was it was going to be introduced at.
I'm really glad I went up from 13 to 14.
Yeah.
Um, it'll be nice to get to 15. I'll get my heroes in that range in a month. They'll be sitting really nice.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'll go up with you whenever you're ready to go up.
yeah. Well, shout outs this week.
I don't have any on the brain at the moment. Like I'm so lasered in focused on this Builder's Apprentice.
No, that's good. I'm glad we got into it right away because I would probably have just sat there and looked at it and said, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Wait, level 2." And I would probably be a level or 2 into it before I realized it was gonna cost me
Yeah.
a
And I'm gonna
lot of
do
money, that like, the benefit wasn't gonna be there.
and I'm gonna present all of these numbers in a YouTube video coming up here soon. I'm waiting for the graphics
On the
whenever it
Clash
comes out
Tips
on
YouTube,
Clash Tips YouTube channel. So I'm gonna be much nicer in the YouTube video. I'm gonna be much nicer in the YouTube video. It's basically gonna be from the perspective of this is a bad deal, but if you want to buy it, go for
you'll be just clenched teeth doing
it.
it. "This is
Well, no, I'm gonna
approved
be
to."
honest. I'm gonna be honest, showing the numbers, like, and you can
Yeah,
determine if spending $14 on a gold pass versus to get the same value as $50 on the Builder's Apprentice, that's your choice, you know?
yeah. So, well, Inigo Montoya, um, shout out, stop by to drop off some clan donations at House of L. Shout out to uh, House of L and CWL and Angry Wookiees. It was a good CWL. We went to 4th place. So do we just stay where we're at then?
Yeah, we'll stay in Masters 3 for now.
It was really close. It was down to like we would have been in second, third, and fourth were pretty close.
Mhm.
We 1 star away from third. We had the destruction, just not the star, I think.
Yeah.
But great, or who's fun, kind of tiring. But I had a
It
good
was
run.
long.
Getting some stuff done now. Uh, Shout out to all the podcast listeners and the Clash community in general. I'm looking forward to seeing what this stuff comes next. It's kind of exciting. Again, blindsided by a troop. Like things have been. There's always something to talk about. There's always something going on, which is fun. So
Yeah.
and get to play with my rocket spear. This week I'll report back on my
Yeah, I'm
journeys.
excited to hear it.
Yeah. All right. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can call or text 320-216-2073. That is 320-216-2073. You can
I didn't hear a phone number. Did you just say a phone number?
I did. And I added it in.
That was really good work on your part, by the way.
That
And
was
I
kind of
laughed
fun
so
too.
hard the last time you didn't put the number in. Whenever you did that, I burst out. I was on my back deck and I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. That was good. That was
Yeah,
good."
I had to sneak it in there. Get a hold of us, Clash of Clans podcast at gmail.com, uh, or clashofclanspodcast.com, and follow subscribe to Tip on YouTube, Clash Tips, at Clash Tips, isn't it? And or you just Clash Tips.
Yeah, you just type in Clash Tips. And assuming that it's there, Supercell may hear this episode and be like,
Oh
"Nope, you're
no.
gone."
There would be outrage in the streets.
Nah, probably not. I'm such a small content creator that I doubt it.
No, there would be an uprising. All right. Well, until next week, I got a lot to process and think about. An upgrade. Ooh, I wish I'd had a little bit of heads up on this just last thing, uh, because I had a plan for research for the new troop levels.
Mm,
But all right. So until next time, I'll fill you in on that too.
sounds good.
All right. Keep it clashy, everybody.
Keep it clashy.
Skilly beep boop beep boop skilly boop.